hero! Won't you please jump across that little old chasm and cut my daddy's chains? Pretty please, have a heart.
Please, Link, jump and cut these chains. The Arpagus are driving me crazy. Thanks. Say, you have a fire diamond, don't you?
Sure.
Then let me fix your sword. Let's see how it works.
Wow.
My hero!
Where are you heading, partner?
I'm going to fight Glutko.
Don't fight him, feed him! Something spicy. Know what I mean?
Through the eye of Glutko lies the shrine of Koridai.
I'm simply famished.
No!
It tastes like a Dyra. Perhaps just one more?
Through the...
Oh, goody! Mashed Link for the main course! Uh-oh!
Listen, such is the power of the Prince of Darkness that he can kill with a single look. Attacks against Ganon will prove fruitless unless Link attacks with the sacred book. Consider Lupe the most dangerous of Ganon's minions.
With this ruby, I replace your soul. You will obey. Ow! Ow!
Now you see me, now you don't. Lucky shot!
Golly!
I spy with my eyes someone who must die. I will not die! Oh!
At last, you have the vision to find my house.
Now you will see the sand krumies that prevent your approach to Ganon. Go with many blessings.
Now you must die! Oh my goodness, this is awful! Join me, Link, and I will make your face the greatest in Koridai, or else you will die. No! Not into the pit! It burns!
Why'd you do that?
I just saved you from Ganon.
You did not.
Well done, Link. Ganon is once again imprisoned. Come. Look, already Koridai is returning to harmony. The birds are singing. Isn't it beautiful? Golly! As it is written, you, Link, are the hero of Koridai.
I guess that's worth a kiss, huh?
Ha!
I won! I won!
No! Not into the pit! It burns!
Ugh, why'd you do that?
I just...
Good.
Gee!
Lamp oil. Rope? Sorry, Link. I can't give credit.